guys. I want to talk about FW Arms again. Now, they just came out with this new product for the dilion 1050, and there's some awesome shell plates for your 1050. So I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of these, some of the features on them. I'm going to also put it on the press and run some, we're going to process some 9mm brass and just kind of check these out. So let's start off, not with these. Let's talk about some of the standard 1050 shell plates. So here's a number 3, which is your 223 300 blackout shell plate. And let's just get a look at this. This is just Dilion's shell plate. I'm not sure what the actual coating they put on this is. It is nice and slick. But you can see these are actually for where the detent ball goes. So as this rotates, there's a little ball that kind of rotates, and this pushing, that's what these wear marks are. Pushing on this, then it pops in to kind of hold your shell plate in place. And these are your alignment holes, so as it rotates, there's a pin that comes down and lines that up. Make sure your orientation is correct, and I'll show you that on the press itself. I just wanted you to see standard shell plate. Nothing real special. You can see it's cut out. Your piece of brass goes in there. Let me grab a piece of brass too. Okay. So as it's going around, one gets fed in, rotates, another one gets fed in, you know, and so on and so forth till your whole shell plate's filled up. And the transition here is pretty important, so you have a smooth operation and you don't get any bound up or anything like that. And you can see Dilion does a pretty good job. It's got some recess cuts in there, helps that go into place. So that's the standard one. Now this is one from Fast and Friendly Brass. It's number 5. It's for 9mm. Without looking on their website, I don't remember what steel this is. It is a hardened steel. And these shell plates are notorious. If you don't have it lined up just right, the swage rod can come up and hit right here and crack or break your shell plate. So these are not hardened steel as the Fast and Friendly shell plate is, but you can see they've got this, it's the same deal. They are a little bit better on the recess cuts, a little smoother. Now let's look at the FW Arms. Now you guys know FW Arms is famous for their world-class decapping die. And I think they are going to be world-class shell plates from what I've already looked at. See, I opened this one up. This one's unopened. I gotta say, first off, Will, these are nice packaging details. I really like this. The gold label, just the beautiful packaging is a big plus here. I like that. Really appreciate that. So here, nice packaging. So look at that. It's got his name on there, but he also has each one numbered. It's just these little attention to detail that you're going to find that is just absolutely amazing with FW arms. And you flip this over. Now look at this. So he's got all these recessed cuts here. So the ball travels beautifully in this recessed channel here. And then you can see there's these recessed cuts kind of spiraling out. Now what these are for, and it helps with when you get powder spilled on your press, this helps get that debris out from underneath your shell plate. Just look at that. Now this is above and beyond what a shell plate should be. I mean, this is amazing. And you can see right now the recess cuts on this is quite a bit better. I don't know if you can see the difference there. So here's a good one to show you. So right here, you can see that just that little angle, little cut right there really helps with pushing the brass in and getting it lined up. You know, versus a standard one, you can see there's no angle on that one. Just amazing. Just beautiful. I just printed this off from FW Arms. You can look at that real quick if you want. Sorry, just reading this real quick, see if there's anything I haven't gone over that I want to point out. So it says that each case station has the geometry optimized for high-speed case feeding, but will also allow minimal wiggle of the case once it's in place. So that's that little cutout right there we're talking about. And then the degree and angle of that, and then in alignment with the cutouts for guiding of the shell, the casing to go in. This also talks about has this dedicated track, this channel I was talking about for the ball to ride in. Cut the ramps in and out for smoother indexing. That's that little ramp we're talking about multiple times right there. That really is a big deal, guys. That really helps out. And then he's calling them these arcs. Cut across the back side that traps debris. These arcs will help pull the debris out from under your shell plate. I said it gets all that nasty spilt powder and junk and dirt and whatever is underneath there. Gets it out from underneath, and you know, keeps everything running smooth. So yeah, I'm gonna install. I'm gonna probably do this one. Install that on the press, and we'll process a little bit of brass today. Do some 9mm. So I'm gonna open this up. We'll go over to the press, and I'll show you how to put this shell plate on if you've never dealt with a 1050. It's pretty easy, but we'll put this on and do a little bit of brass processing. So let's go. Okay, and when you get your FW Arms shell plate, in the package, you get the shell plate, and there's going to be another envelope in there. And what this is your indexing pawl. So FW Arms says there is some geometry difference, you know, from theirs than a standard shell plate. And for one, you can see, okay, well, let's back up. So this is what indexes your shell plate. Indexes it. Here's a standard one. So this is sitting underneath, rides in one of these holes here, and it actually pushes, clicks back to the next, and pushes, and that's how it rotates and indexes to the next station. So right off the bat, you guys, we've been talking about this larger channel here cut for these indexing ball divots here. It's chamfered. You can see the standard one is not. So the FW Arms indexing paw is slightly longer, and that is needed to reach up in here and index to the next station. So when you get your FW Arms beautiful indexing plate, make sure you look inside and you don't throw it away with this indexing pawl in there. You're going to want this. You're going to have to install this on your 1050 for proper function of the shell plate. Okay, so here we are at the press. Got a bucket full of 9mm brass. I've washed this once. Hasn't been sized or deprimed, and I want to size, deprime all this so I can wash it again. I want to get these primer pockets cleaned up and size this brass for a friend. And it's easy for me to take large quantities and process it for people, friends. That way they don't, because a lot of guys don't have a press like this. A lot of guys are sitting down at a single stage press or maybe a 650 or a 750, and a lot of us who shoot together, we kind of help each other out, and it's nice to be able to help someone out who doesn't have the time to sit down and process all their brass. So that's what we're doing here. So you can see I do have, let me just move you a little bit. Got the standard shell plate on there. This one's actually, I'll take that one off. That's one of Will's original shell plates. So let's pull that one off. Since we're not going to be priming, I'm going to remove priming station 2. Let's get this stuff out of the way and take a look at what we got here. Okay, FW Arms, number 3. This is one of his first ones. You see it has that nice cut right there, that angle for reliable feeding and alignment. It does have the channel ways cut, and it does have a smaller channel for that detent ball. Right here's that detent ball we're talking about. This rides in this channel here. Once you get to your station, everything lines up. This helps hold your shell plate. Keeps everything nice and lined up. You can see the differences. Numbered station and all that's, I mean, that's gonna rotate, but it's nice if you had to pull something out for whatever reason, you can keep track of where it was or whatever. Bigger channel cut, way bigger channel cut than his original. Obviously you guys are noticing the biggest difference. I didn't even talk about that. The biggest difference you guys are noticing is the coating on this. It's the tin PVD coating. That's going to be super durable. This is on like a, you guys probably have seen this on like a Salient Arms barrel or some bolt carrier groups and stuff. This is a real tough, beautiful coating on this. See, it's these little details that they do over FW Arms that makes their products just absolutely beautiful. So let me put this on, and we will kind of get processing some stuff here. Okay, so I have the number 5 shell plate installed. I've got my FW Arms decapper and swage backer set up, and I've got a sizing die in here. So we're going to fill up the hopper with a couple pieces of brass and run it and just see how it runs first. It's the first time I've used this, so should be good, but let's get a scoop of brass here. Turn the machine on. We'll let the tube fill up and then we'll turn it on. We'll start off at roughly 900 rounds an hour. So we got some in the tube, so let's just go ahead and run it. I do have my decap sense on. That senses if the primer's been knocked out or not. So let's bypass that. Okay, so it looks like it's running okay. Let's kick it up. Let's go to 1,500 rounds an hour. Okay. Looks like I got one issue right here. And that could just be the angle of my kicker here to get this brass out. Let me... I don't know if I need to change the angle on that or what's happening. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's move you over here. Maybe we can get a better view. sizing all this. Just want to double check case gauge, make sure everything's sized correctly. Looks like we're doing good on that. So far it was just that one case, and sometimes your brass will get a little burr, like right here. You see these little nicks and stuff, and sometimes they do get caught in a shell plate. The other thing I did notice, let me stop this for 1 second, is I didn't measure because I had it already installed, but I did notice my swage on my 1050 right here in this station. You have a swage, and that'll take out the crimp and everything on a military primer pocket. And I noticed before I ran this, you know, I ran the machine up and down and checked clearances and everything, and I did have to drop my swager down a little bit because I think there's thinner material right here on these new ones versus this one. And I won't know until I take some measurements with some calipers on there, but just visually looking, it looks like it is thinner. So just keep that in mind if you guys do run one of these, to check everything, obviously, before you just load the machine up and get running. But that was something I did notice and wanted to point out. So running at 1,500 rounds an hour looks good. Let's kick it up to 2,100 rounds. Okay, no primer detected. We are out of brass. Just kick that sensor off so we don't need to deal with that anymore. Well, good. That was one scoop of brass. I mean, that's not a real good representation, but I think you guys saw did just have that one issue, but I don't think that was the shell plate. I think that was the brass itself. I will keep track of that, and that's the good thing is so let's say you keep getting an issue on a shell plate. Well, you know, a standard one, they're just all just in there. You don't know which one's which unless you label it yourself or keep orientation of the writings or whatever. But say the cool thing with him labeling all of these is, let's say that issue that you guys saw with that case not ejecting keeps happening. I can look and see, well, that keeps happening with number 3, so that would tell me I have an issue with that shell plate on number 3. And you can, you know, let someone know, let Will know, or whoever. I'm not saying that these will ever have an issue like that, but I honestly don't think it was the shell plate. I think it was the piece of brass. And I'm gonna run this whole tub here on this. I probably might scoop some more in here for you guys and just speed the video up, and we'll just watch this machine run for a little bit on some brass processing. But I think these shell plates are awesome. Just looking at them alone, I mean, who else takes such pride and detail in their work as FW Arms? Just look at this beautiful piece. Say, tin, PVD coated. All slots are labeled 1 through 8. There's been some geometry changes on the slots themselves. I say we went over multiple times that little angle right there helps with reliability and feeding into the shell plate. That's what that's for, is the initial leaving here and jumping into the shell plate. That's where that little angle right there helps out with. And then just I'm not going to dump powder all over my press to show you guys, but just take our word for it that these right there would help push out. You can see if you spilt powder and it was out here, it should work its way out to the far edge of the plate, and it would help not get bound up or cause any issues. So you got those channels there. Then you have this detent ball channel, massive channel. Helps, I'm imagine that helps keep everything lined up, eliminate some wobble and such, and does look like those back holes are chamfered nicely too. So that helps with that ball popping into place to hold it where it needs to be. So awesome product, FW Arms. Let's run some brass. Let me run this out.